Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Caitlin from grassfedgirl.com. We're so excited today. We have Molly Cowan. Her Instagram is meet underscore Molly. Is that right? Meet
Yep, that's
underscore
right.
Molly. So meet
Hmm.
underscore Molly on Instagram. And she's actually a friend of my sister. She found her on Instagram and my sister told me her story a little bit. And so what a great idea to have her on the podcast, video podcast like this. So we're so excited that she's here. Thank you for coming, Molly.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so you've been following carnivore now for how long?
It's been about 16 months.
Awesome. So, how did you hear about it and like why did you want to do it? And
I think I heard about it like everybody else does through the Joe Rogan podcast with Sean Baker, and I looked at my husband and was like, "Hey, let's try this." And we went to Costco the next day and never looked back.
so were you doing keto before that or
Yeah, I
paleo?
had been keto. Yeah, I'd been keto prior to that for about 8 months. I had lost 50 pounds doing that. And then once I saw that interview, I was, intrigued by it and thought, hey, what the heck? I'll try that too.
So he was interviewing Sean Baker. I think I'm the only person who's never seen that. I've seen him interview Jordan. I saw the first thing I saw with Joe Rogan was Jordan Peterson. He interviewed Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
but not Sean Baker. So I mean, of course, I've seen tons of stuff from Sean Baker now, but um, anyways, okay. So you were doing keto and you lost 50 pounds. That's awesome. And
Mhm.
so why did you feel a need to change anything if that was working for you?
I had hit a plateau and I just wasn't seeing the scale moving anymore. And once I saw that, I was like, maybe this can get it going again. So I just thought I would try it.
So was weight like your main motivation or was there
That
other
was my main motivation in the beginning.
and then the
Um,
change?
I, I mean, I had I had like, psoriasis and that health issue but I had been overweight pretty much my entire life, and that was always my obsession, was to find something that works for me. And I tried everything under the sun. So once I started keto and I had, the motivation to lose all that weight and I lost all that weight, I just wanted to keep going. And
That's
so once it kind of stopped, that's when I was like, I need to tweak something to get this going again. So carnivore was the next step for me.
that's awesome. Well, how did you get the motivation to go keto in the first place? I mean, it's so hard in our culture where everything is just like carbs, carbs, carbs. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
keto and carnivore are pretty similar. I mean, you are cutting out more things, but you've already kind of in that mindset of like I'm cutting carbs and stuff. But when you first cut out carbs, it's like so hard. How did you deal
Yeah.
with that, like with your family and friends and
I pretty much went cold turkey because I hit a breaking point where, like, this was it. I can't do this anymore. I need to do something. I got a rash all over my arms, and it was burning and itching. And I went to the doctor, and I still remember stepping on that scale and it saying 291 pounds. And in that moment, seeing that number, I was like, I already had the mindset that this was it. Like, I have to do something to change. And I ended up getting diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis because it felt like my arms were in a vice and I was just trying to rip them off my body. Like, it hurt so bad.
oh my God.
So they put me on steroids, which I'm not like a medicine person. I do not like taking medications, but I was desperate at that point for it to just finally go away. So they put me on steroids, and right after that appointment, me and my husband went to lunch and I ordered a bunless hamburger and a side salad, no french fries, and I never looked back at that point.
So you had just kind of like you'd hit the ground zero, like the bottom for you, and was like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not gonna live like this anymore, basically.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, I was 27 at the time and I was just married. So
you're
I
like,
didn't want medication for the rest of my life for, something that I might be able to fix.
well, that's so strong because I think so many people, they're willing to just take whatever the doctors give them and not like do their own research or not be empowered. I mean, the information is out there. Like maybe you don't know. Like, is it going to make that big of a difference? You never know. It could not. But it doesn't cost anything to try it. But like, I mean, the side effects of some medications. I mean, I understand why you took it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had I mean, I understand why you were there and you took it and everything, but like you are looking long term. Like I don't want to be like this because it's just. I mean, then it's another thing, and then they give you something for that. It's like it piles on top of each other, and then you have to take something for the side effect of the other thing. And I mean, that's what I've heard anyway. As I was
Yeah.
always trying to avoid the same thing, like I don't want to be, I don't want to get another diagnosis after I got Hashimoto's, like that was,
Yeah.
and that's for me, I didn't want to get a new thing. Um, so that's so interesting. I mean, and now was it hard with telling your family and friends like no bun or no, cake for my birthday or?
Yeah. Not really, because I had already heard about keto like prior to that. So I had already been like listening to stuff and like looking into it and whatnot. So I had already like said some stuff to my family about it. And my family, my mom is overweight or was overweight. My mom has lost 50 pounds since then. But
Wow.
everybody kind of was like motivated to do it too. My little sister's lost 27 pounds doing keto. My husband has done it. So like everybody was kind of on board. So nobody really like, you know, detoured me away from doing it, especially once they saw me start losing weight and the results that I got from it. So it wasn't hard.
That's so great. I mean, I feel like you kids are so lucky with the internet and everything. When I was 22, when I tried to lose weight, it was like we I had a Atkins book from Goodwill, that was my internet. So
Yeah.
we didn't have like people on Instagram to look at and see what was happening. So,
Yeah.
but I just thought it was going to kill me because of all the butter and the cheese and everything and the meat. And so I did it once when I was really young, but I didn't think that it was safe. So I like quit, which was a big mistake. But anyway, that's so
Yeah.
cool. What was I going to say? So that's great. Now you're in the restaurant business somehow, right?
Yeah. My parents own a Mexican restaurant. We've been in business for 42 years. So
Wow.
I'm surrounded by pretty much all the comfort food that I grew up eating all day long.
But one good thing about, all ethnic food, basically all besides American food, is that there's actually real food contained inside. I mean, like I was at a Mexican
Yeah.
restaurant the other night, and there was like 3 or 4 different kinds of steak options, and there's fajitas, and there's shrimp. There's so many things that you can get that have real meat in them, and I mean, of
Yeah.
course, there's the beans and cheese and the carby stuff, but there's real food too, and only American food is like, I don't know, mac and cheese. Like there's nothing in it except
Yeah.
carbs.
Yeah.
So at least I'm sure you can get them to make you something or, something that you can eat, right?
Oh yeah. We have all the steak and chicken and ground beef and all that. So
Now,
I'm
was
not
it
starving down there.
now on carnivore, did you give up avocados?
I did in the beginning, but once I got pregnant, that's kind of when I, let myself be a little more lenient with having that stuff because, you know, the cravings, I never thought that they were, you know, would affect me because with my diet, you know, I've been doing this for so long, at 2 years prior to getting pregnant, but the cravings hit me pretty hard. So
Oh, okay.
I all the
Congratulations.
like guacamole and stuff like that, I was craving that.
I bet. So, I mean, but I think that's good. You kind of go with what your body's telling you. And uh, now, congratulations on your pregnancy. That's so awesome because a lot of people, you know, struggle with that, especially when, I mean, it's a lot of young girls, like they have PCOS and they have infertility, and especially
Yeah.
when they have been overweight for a long time. Now, did you have a problem getting pregnant before, or do you think that just you got on this at the right time and then it helped your body?
I think I got on it on the right time. It did take me and my husband 17 months to get pregnant, but we ended up finding out that it was his motility. So it was only 1%, but he just ended up taking like a multivitamin that supported the motility, and within a month of taking that, we were pregnant. But he hadn't been keto or carnivore as long as I had, so, and he's a big sugar addict. He likes candy and ice cream and all that stuff. So I think that took a toll on that, and it wasn't enough time for him to heal.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting that, you know, you find out when you don't get pregnant for a while, you find out a lot of stuff that you didn't know
Yeah.
before, you know. Um, well, that's good that he found a kind of a simple way to fix it. And you must be so excited now that you're
Oh,
gonna have a baby.
yeah.
That's great. So kind of like tell us what your like how did your diet change? Like tell us like a typical day when you were doing carnivore and like now if it's any different like that you're pregnant.
A typical day is usually, you know, I'll either eat ground beef at the restaurant or I'll bring hamburger patties from home for lunch. And then for dinner, it's usually a ribeye. And now, I mean, the only things that I've really added are like maybe I'll have some hot sauce or sour cream. It's still technically carnivore, but I don't normally eat sour cream. So it's just like little things like that where it's not like, it's more of like a dirty carnivore.
It's like more dairy or something like that.
Yeah.
So now have you had sugar cravings and how's that going?
I've had sugar cravings, but I get the fat snacks cookies and I'll get like a, you know, a keto friendly ice cream and things like that. But I've never really been a sweets person. So I'm more like, I'd rather have a stack of hamburger patties than, you know, ice cream. So it's very rare that I crave something sweet, but I don't restrict, especially right now with being pregnant. I don't want to go too crazy.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, I think it's a big factor is stress, and you don't want your diet to be like a huge source of stress. So you don't want to be like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, did that have, you know, one drop of canola oil on it, or I don't know, you know, you don't want to be
Yeah.
so like obsessive that it's causing you stress. So, so now tell us when you first started carnivore, like what was you know, your strict carnivore like?
Um, I would eat lots of steak, lots of bacon, lots of eggs. I never really cut out dairy. Like, I don't eat a lot of dairy. Like, I'll just have like a piece of cheese on my hamburger patty or something like that. But like, I don't really use heavy whipping cream or things like that just because I don't really have a use for it. I don't drink coffee, so I
Okay.
don't, you know, need to put heavy cream in my coffee or anything like that. I do use a lot of butter, but yeah, just whatever meat I was craving. I kept it pretty simple because I mean, carnivore is really simple, but just things like that.
Now, were you taking like a prenatal vitamin, or were you worried about, supplements or having the right stuff when you were, you know, in the pre-pregnancy phase and then now pregnant?
I never took any supplements before pregnancy just because I had it in my mind that, all the nutrition that I needed, I was getting from my diet. And, I really believe in the bioavailability of the nutrients that you get from your food. And I didn't start taking the prenatal until after I was pregnant. But it was more of like I had it in my head that this is what I was going to do. I wasn't going to take a prenatal. And then I stressed so much about it that like, I worried too much about it. And then I got so stressed about it that I was just like, okay, this isn't helping me. I'm just going to take one just to be safe. But so I take a prenatal, I take a iodine supplement, and I take a little extra vitamin D, and, I make sure that my electrolytes are in check and all that stuff. But if I wasn't pregnant, I wouldn't be taking any supplements.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you don't want to like regret anything. So,
Yeah.
why walk on the wild side, too much? And I mean, I
Yeah.
think, unless you're like really, really eating liver every single week or, really careful about it. I mean, I think if you did that, it might be okay, but that's hard to know. Like, I eat a lot of liver, but then there may be 3 weeks to go by and I forget, or something
Yeah.
like that. Now, do you eat any liver?
I haven't. I buy it all the time. Every time I'm at the grocery store, I look at it and I'm like, I need to start eating liver, and I'll buy it and I'll have it in my freezer, but I just can't bring myself to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could try like mixing in a burger, like just a little bit, like 1/4 to, that would probably be the easiest way to start, because you don't really see it. And um, I mean, me and my sister, we like it. We like to make pate and stuff, but the only problem is now there's nothing like to put your pate on. So like
Yeah.
you could put it on like a boiled egg or like a pork rind, that would work. Um, so so what about, so you said about dairy. Um, so what do you see long term, like after you have the baby and stuff? What is your plan about sticking with it, or um, you know, do you think this is something you can do with a baby and stuff?
Oh yeah, with how simple that it is to just, grill up some hamburger patties. It's very minimal grocery shopping. Like I I don't think I would change anything. I think this is something that is very easily, something's very easy that I can do long term, and especially very minimalist with having a newborn.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I mean, when my sister started when her baby was really small, and like right away you could tell she was less stressed out, like not making all this vegetables and soups and all these complicated recipes that she was used to making. It helped a lot with just the streamlining of all the shopping, and then also you don't have to have fresh food all the time. Like you can have
Yeah.
everything in the freezer. You don't have to
Hmm.
worry like, is this going bad, is that going bad, I need to use up this cucumber or what, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband eats keto, and so like I have all his stuff in the fridge, and like already there's like big things of lettuce going bad, and I'm like, damn it, have to have to make him eat this lettuce before it
Yeah.
gets bad, like shoving it down his throat, like eat this lettuce you made me buy. Um, so yeah, that sounds good. Now, what about, are you planning to nurse, or
Yeah, I plan on breastfeeding.
hopefully it'll work out? Yeah. That's really good. And did you talk to your like OB or anything about any of this? Did they say, or you just kind of like keep it on the DL?
I had seen a nurse practitioner at first, and she, um, because I am still overweight. Like I haven't lost all my weight yet. So she was kind of giving me like, you have a certain amount of weight that you can gain from your BMI and all that stuff. So, and then she told me, I think she stereotyped me because at 8 weeks she made me take the glucose
like
test
ahead of time.
Yeah. And because I am Hispanic, so diabetes is very, it's a lot among Hispanic people. So I told her I didn't want to take it, and she kind of like backed me into a corner and kind of made me feel guilty about not taking it. And I was like, I don't eat sugar, I barely even eat carbs. And she was like, kind of gave me like the third degree about that. And I was like, I do keto. And she's like, well, you can't do that. That's not safe for your baby. And I was just like, well, in my head, I'm like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not changing my diet, but I'm not confrontational. So I wasn't going to, argue with her or anything, but I ended up taking it and I did pass. I was really worried about it because a lot of keto women don't pass it because, you don't eat all that sugar. And then all of a sudden you take in this large amount and your body doesn't know what to do with it. But I was lucky enough to pass to where I didn't have to do it again. But there's nothing. If there was something wrong, I would probably bring it up. But I mean, everything's going so good. Like I don't have any morning sickness, no nausea, no food aversions, no nothing. Like I feel completely normal. Like sometimes I forget that I'm even pregnant. Like I don't even feel like it's real because I'm not having any normal pregnancy symptoms.
That's amazing. Because so many times you hear that, and it almost goes back to the PMS. Like everybody thinks you're supposed to have this horrible period. I mean, I think I missed my window on not having a bad period, but but if like ancestrally, let's just say,
Yeah.
like we're taught to believe as people in this country, we're supposed to believe like you have to take Midol and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
but I think ancestrally people didn't have these terrible, horrible periods that we grew up having, probably most likely.
Yeah.
But so that's good to hear. Pregnancy may be the same way, that you don't always have to feel terrible or be craving ice cream or, like all that you hear. Because I was worried like, oh, well, what if, all I can eat, and everybody says you don't like protein, you don't want protein. And I'm like, oh crap. Like, what if all I can eat is like chips or something? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about too. A lot of people have meat aversions and I'm like, that's all I eat. There's nothing else for me to eat.
Yeah, I was thinking like, would you just eat like maybe a protein shake or something like that, all you could get down maybe if we're really struggling. I mean, because like I would never want to just eat bread or something, just because that's all I could eat, all I could stomach. But anyway, that's so interesting. So now what are you trying to do now? Are you trying to like share about this with your Instagram, or is that just kind of a hobby? Or
it's more of just like keeping myself accountable. And I learned about keto through somebody else sharing their story. So I'm hoping that with me sharing mine, like maybe if I can help one person, like that would be great.
And I think everybody kind of sees themselves in you, so like if somebody kind of feels like a connection with you and they maybe they look like you or they feel like you or something, then they'll say, well, she's just like me, like those stupid things in the magazine, like stars are just like us.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like, so I think that's really good because everybody has a different background, a different place they're coming from and life experience, so they can share that and we can reach more people by sharing our story. So that's really helpful. So I mean, is there anything you want to add to people that oh it's there. Okay, it's still there. I got a message on the screen. Is there anything you want to share with people about, words of encouragement?
Well, like I said before, I am surrounded by all the comfort food that I grew up eating all day long, every day. We make our own homemade tortillas and they're delicious. And I mean, if I can be surrounded by that all day and still achieve what I've achieved, like anybody can do this. Not everybody's surrounded by constant food, every day, like I am, and unless you work in a restaurant, of course. But I just feel like, I was able to break a relationship that I had with food. And it was, a pretty drastic relationship. Like I had an addiction to carbs and, I was able to break away from that and still achieve, something that I've always wanted to achieve with keto and now carnivore.
Well, your story is super inspirational, Molly, especially for, young women who want to get married and have a baby and, still, and then get back or, lose weight before and get back to their healthy self afterwards. It's really inspirational. So I'm so glad you could join us, and make sure and follow Molly at meet_Molly on Instagram, and, share this video with a friend, like it, ring the bell. Tell us what you thought of this interview in the comments below. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.